In this video, we're gonna talk about the one thing that is canceling your manifestation. It's the one thing that is saying, okay, I want this, and then you're like, boom, I don't deserve this, I don't feel worthy of this. And that one thing is guilt. And this is a follow-up from one of the videos I made recently, a couple of days ago, because I've got so much messages, so much question regarding guilt and how it plays out in our self-concept, in the thing we attract and create in our life. And I want to be clear with this. You only get what you feel worthy of receiving. And so guilt is the one thing that cancels what we ask for. Why does it cancel it? Because you say, I want this big car, I want that money, I want that thing, I want that promotion. But if subconsciously you don't see yourself as being worthy of this or deserving of that or enough to have this, unless maybe you fit certain rules or strategies or things that you need to do in order to, earn it, you will cancel that thing because your energy, who you are, your self-concept is not aligned with what you're asking, with the request you are making. Does that make sense? So on one hand, you're asking. On the second hand, you're saying, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve it. I don't know if maybe it's too much. What will other people say? All those kind of thoughts come from guilt. It means that subconsciously, you don't see yourself worthy of those things you ask for. And you may notice that maybe in your own experience, you know what you really want, but you cannot lower what you ask for. Maybe you want to make that much money, right? But you only ask for that much. Maybe you want that big, fancy new car, but you know the price tag. And you only ask for that one or that second hand. I'd be okay with that. When you dilute what you ask for, when you settle for things, it is also a reflection of your self-concept. It's a lack of belief in yourself. It's a lack of worthiness in yourself and in what you think life will give you. A lot of the things that we've been taught when we're growing up is around what we need to do to be loved, to be liked, and to be a good boy or girl, so to speak. That's what we learn when we are young, right? We pick up strategy, belief, perception, and then we act out what we think will give us everything we want, but being good. And a lot of those beliefs are still there today, affecting what we want, affecting what we go for, affecting what we attract and create in our lives. And I want to give you some example of my own personal life, how this played out, especially with money, okay? I remember when I started my coaching business and when I started asking for money, right, for my services, from what I was, saying and doing. And at some point I rose my price a little bit. And it wasn't much compared to what I charge now, but I started feeling guilty for charging so much. I felt like it was too high. I felt like, who am I to charge this? And all those kind of thoughts were creeping, making me feel insecure, making me feel like, oh my God, I hope, I wish, that people will buy, that people won't complain, these kind of things. And of course, I was being met by those, expectations and by people saying, oh, it's too much, or people complaining, or people, objecting to what I was selling. Because it was my own projection. You see, I didn't feel worthy of that. So it wasn't about the price tag, because today I charge more and people are buying it, but it was about how I saw the value of what I was giving, the value of my time, the value of my service, the value of my knowledge, the value of my presence. And this is my own to set, to define, and to agree on what I feel is worthy and what I feel is a win-win. So as long as I didn't clear out those projections, it was for me difficult to break out that ceiling. So you see, on one hand, I wanted to make a certain amount of money, but on the second hand, I didn't feel worthy of it. And so which one did I get? I get the one that was aligned with my self-concept. Going further, once I started clearing this, I started noticing that I was making more money, okay? But I also noticed the way I was spending my money and how I was being very self-conscious of not showing that I have, what I felt was too much, buying shiny things, looking prosperous, looking a certain way. And, that fear of being seen as being, oh, look at him, he's like that, or he's spending money on this, all that judgment. I didn't want people to make me feel bad about how I was spending money. And again, this came from the beliefs I was being told. If you have too much money, people will use you, or people will leave you, or that rich people are bad. And so I didn't want to be that person. So there was a lot of guilt around having a certain amount of money. So without realizing, what I was doing is that I was not only capping my ceiling of how much I was making, but I was also being in that state on which I was only spending money there and doing this and looking for saving and just showing myself as, I don't need to have enough. That humble bullshit thing around money. Until I realized this is the conscious awareness of, that belief is not true, doesn't serve a useful purpose, and it needs to go. If I want to allow myself to go to the next level, I need to not let myself be defined by what other people would think is good or how much money I need to have, because all of this is just a perception. You need to feel good about yourself. You need to change again your self-concept to feel like I am worthy of that much money and of showing those kind of things and of showing the big watch of this or that or whatever you fancy. But if you buy a new pair of shoes, maybe you've ever been in this situation when you bought that new pair of shoes or that watch or that new iPhone and you put it on and then you were kind of like self-conscious about what are people going to say. That is an example of guilt, and that is a reflection of your self-image and your level of worthiness. If you feel not at your place, going into a fancy designer shop or in a big place where you feel like out of place, again, it's a reflection of your worthiness. So guilt is going to cancel your demands, your manifestation, not only regarding money, but to many other things. And money is deeply attached to our sense of self-worth. All right? So those are a few examples to just explain this. But the point I'm trying to make in this video is that I'm trying to invite you to ask yourself those two questions. Let's say you're asking, you want to create, achieve, bring something to life, okay? And if you've noticed that this thing has not been really happening for you for a while, I want you to ask those two questions. Do I really feel worthy of having this now in my life? Do I really feel like I deserve to have this thing in my life right now? And notice what comes up. Allow yourself to be honest. Notice if there's resistance. Notice if there's a feeling, an emotion, a thought, a story that comes up. Maybe you don't feel worthy of having it right now. Maybe you feel like you need to work your ass off first. Maybe you need to wait. Maybe you feel guilty. Maybe whatever the thought may be, you need to become aware of what is coming up. Because you just observing those thoughts will give you power over those thoughts. And then it's a matter of clearing those beliefs, clearing those thoughts, clearing out those false beliefs, and then working on allowing yourself to feel truly worthy about what you are asking right now. It's like in this moment, you need to feel worthy and deserving of having that thing for no particular reason, simply because you want to. That's the highest form of alignment. So when you ask this question, if anything comes up, clear it up. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this really the truth? What is the higher thought here? And start cleansing those beliefs, perceptions, stories that are no longer serving you and that are limiting your self-worth and what you are worthy of attracting in your life. Because remember, you only get what you feel worthy of receiving. And it's not worthy really of receiving consciously, but it's more so subconsciously. And especially if you have a lot of repressed guilt, a lot of repressed shame, and if you seek often external validation, external love, external attention, that will be a challenge for you to clear out so that you feel perfect or good, accepting, loving toward yourself in the moment. You are worthy of everything you ask for. You are worthy to have it all at the same time, all of the time. Let me know what you think down in the comment, guys, if this makes sense. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Help me grow this channel, help me grow this community, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Be well.